It's a scorching summer day, and nothing hits the spot like popping open a cold, fizzy soda. That first sip? Pure refreshment. But soda isn't just a simple drink, it has a wild history. It's been used as medicine, as a tool of diplomacy, and even as a military asset. This is the story of soda, told through 10 fascinating facts. The fizz that defines soda was discovered by accident. In the 18th century, an English scientist named Joseph Priestley was experimenting with gases when he found that dissolving carbon dioxide in water created a pleasant, sparkling drink. He called it impregnated water, which is, of course, a brilliant name that definitely doesn't sound weird at all. However, he never commercialized it. Instead, he moved on to discovering oxygen. You know, the thing we sometimes breathe, and named it dephlogisticated air, which is, once again, pure marketing genius. Later on, Priestley was run out of England by an angry mob, but that's a story for another time. In 1884, Civil War veteran and pharmacist John Pemberton was desperate to break free from his morphine addiction, which was the common painkiller of the era. Using his chemistry skills, he created French wine coca, a tonic made from wine, cola nuts, and one more ingredient which I don't know how to put it in a family-friendly way. Snow powder? Nose candy? Devil's dandruff? Pixie dust for grown-ups. That's the one. And he marketed as a cure for everything, easing pain, fighting addiction, curing chronic illness, and as well as acting as a most wonderful invigorator of the reproductive organs. But with prohibition looming, Pemberton was forced to tweak his formula. In 1886, he removed the wine and created the first batch of Coca-Cola, a non-alcoholic version of his medicine. While his drink showed promise, Pemberton never saw its success. Struggling with addiction and illness, he sold his formula and died in 1888. Oh, and by the way, it wasn't until 1929 that Coca-Cola was completely free of any spicy flour, Frosted Flakes, Wall Street Wizard juice, sniff sniff pass, booger sugar. In 1989, PepsiCo pulled one of the strangest business deals in history. It briefly became the 6th largest naval power in the world. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union wanted Pepsi, but there was just one problem. Their currency wasn't accepted internationally. So in an absurd barter deal, they offered 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer in exchange for a steady supply of soda. For a brief moment, PepsiCo had a navy bigger than some countries. Eventually, they sold the entire fleet for scrap. Pepsi CEO reportedly joked to a US official saying, "We're disarming the Soviet Union faster than you are." Throughout history, Santa Claus had been depicted in many different outfits, sometimes in green, blue, brown, or even tan robes. His red suit was already appearing in some depictions, especially in the 19th century, but it wasn't always consistent. Then came Coca-Cola's 1930s Christmas ads, featuring a plump, jolly Santa in bright red and white, painted by artist Haddon Sundblom. Since Coke ran these ads every holiday season for decades, their version of Santa became so widespread that it solidified the red suit as the official look for Santa Claus worldwide. So while Coca-Cola didn't create the red suit, they branded it into history. During World War II, Coca-Cola in Germany had a problem. They couldn't get the ingredients to make Coke, but instead of shutting down, the head of Coca-Cola Germany, Max Keith, got creative. Using whatever was available like leftover apple scraps and whey from cheese making, he invented a new drink and named it Fanta, short for the German word fantasy, meaning imagination. which is quite fitting. After the war, Coca-Cola took back control, and in 1955, Fanta was reintroduced with an orange flavor. For over a century, Coca-Cola Recipe has remained one of the best kept secrets in the world. So secret, in fact, that it's allegedly known by only a handful of executives at any given time. The original written formula is said to have been kept in a New York bank vault until 1925, when it was moved to a vault in Atlanta. Later on, in 2011, they transferred the formula to the World of Coca-Cola Museum, placing it in a heavily secure vault. But here's where it gets even more interesting. No single company actually knows the full recipe. Coca-Cola reportedly splits its ingredients among multiple suppliers, ensuring that no one entity has the entire formula. Even the employees who make the syrup are only given coded instructions, preventing them from knowing the full mix. Over the years, many have claimed to have discovered the formula, including a supposedly leaked document from 1979. But Coca-Cola insists that the real recipe has never been revealed. Being that true or not, it's a very good, excellent marketing tactic. Would you pay $30,000 for a single bottle of soda? Someone did. In 2020, a 1974 unopened Coca-Cola bottle gained significant attention when it sold on eBay for $29,900. This bottle's extraordinary value stemmed from an unusual anomaly. It supposedly contained a syringe floating within the sealed soda. The origins of this contamination remain unclear, sparkling intrigue and debate among collectors and enthusiasts. This isn't the only Coca-Cola bottle that collectors have fought over. Some rare bottles have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and the most expensive one ever, a 1915 prototype, went for an unbelievable $240,000. In the 1990s, Pepsi ran a Pepsi Stuff promotion where customers could collect points and redeem them for prizes. A TV commercial jokingly showed a Harrier fighter jet available for 7 million Pepsi points. John Leonard, a 21-year-old student, saw this as an opportunity. He discovered that Pepsi allowed customers to purchase additional Pepsi points for 10 cents each. Calculating the cost, Leonard realized that he could acquire 7 million points for $700,000. He secured financial backing from investors and sent Pepsi a check for the jet. Pepsi refused, of course, saying it was an obvious joke, but Leonard sued, which led to the widely known Pepsi Points case. The court ruled for Pepsi, stating that no reasonable person would expect a soda company to give away a military aircraft. Although this video may seem like a fun, elaborate soda ad, here's a harsh reality fact on how much plastic Coca-Cola and Pepsi contribute to global plastic waste. In 2022, Coca-Cola used 3.43 million metric tons of plastic. That's equivalent to roughly 172 billion plastic bottles. PepsiCo produced a little bit less at 130 billion plastic bottles. Together, they produce over 300 billion plastic bottles per year. That's about 10,000 plastic bottles every second. The Coca-Cola Company is identified as the largest plastic polluter globally. A 2023 global audit revealed that 56 brands led by the Coca-Cola Company are responsible for more than half of the world's plastic pollution. So I didn't want to end this video on such a negative note, so here's a funny one. One of the most famous soda marketing mishaps never actually happened, but it's too funny to ignore. According to a long-lasting urban legend, when Pepsi introduced its "Come Alive, You're in the Pepsi Generation" slogan in China, it was hilariously mistranslated as "Pepsi brings your ancestors back from the grave." While there's no actual evidence that this translation appeared in real advertisements, the story became so widespread that it's still believed today. A true case of soda folklore.